Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 13th of July. I'm Derek Clark, back in the UK after my time away in Portugal. I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barrie. How are you getting on this morning, Joshua?
Yeah, good to see you, Derek, after your trip, which looked very fun, I must say, although I know you'll have worked very hard. But are you happy to be back in more accustomed climates to what you
you say that I got off the plane at Manchester Monday, and it was so warm it defies belief. I thought I'd just travel to another airport in Portugal. It's got a bit of a heat wave down here, hitting the 30s. I think there's an amber warning for hot weather as well. So if you're down here, folks, take extra care out there. But folk are tuning in to listen to the latest Rangers news and not weather reports. So let's batter in. Just before we do that, folks, as you can see, the One Football app on your screen is our sponsor. It is your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. You can keep up to date with all the latest goings on from Ibrox. You can keep abreast of the opposition as well in the Scottish Premiership fixture lists and what have you. You can get notifications to your phone. And not only Scottish football, if you've got a team down south, you can keep up to date with all that's going on across the border and also in the European competitions. The good news is it is totally free, so it won't cost you a penny, and it's available to iPhone and Android users. So go and download it, folks, the One Football app. And as you can see, the little ticker below, we've got a great offer on the website just now, where if you subscribe, you get 2 months of the best Rangers coverage for £2. Join us at www.rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. Okay, the news yesterday, Joshua, Rangers' fourth signing of the summer. Rabbi Matondo arrived from German club Schalke. He was on loan at Cercle Bruges last year. This forward-thinking player left-footed, I believe, but can play left-footed, but plays on the left. What do we know about him? Welsh international, had a loan spell at Stoke City, came through the youth ranks at Manchester City. Are Rangers supporters right to get excited about this boy?
Well, I'm very excited about it, having watched quite a bit of him. I think he will be the player that is the right winger for Rangers next season. Just reading between the lines, and I'll explain why I think that in a second. But on the surface of it, and I'll put the scout report in the comments just now. All the detail you need to know about Matondo is there on the website, as Derek says at the top of the show. You can £2 for 2 months and get stuff like that every single day. Matondo's 21. He went to Germany for £11 million when he was 19. Maybe even 18, because it was in 2019, and but was it from the Man City academy? So certainly went there with a good reputation. Already got 11 caps for Wales. Last season had a pretty profitable loan in Belgium, playing off the left, but he's played off the right when he was at Stoke. He's played everywhere when he played at Schalke. And if you read that scout report, you'll see why I think he kind of could play that Scott Wright role, the role that Scott Wright has played in the team, which is a bit of a hybrid role. Sometimes he comes inside and Tavernier overlaps, and sometimes he'll go outside and allow Tavernier to underlap. Unlike the left side, where Kent's kind of glued to that touchline at the moment under Van Bronckhorst and is very much the wide player out there. If you look at stats last season, Derek, I'll ring off a few of these. He took 3 shots per 90, which was the 14th highest of all attackers, including strikers, in the Belgian top flight, and he took 2 crosses per 90. And his XG over the course of the season, his expected goals was 7.8. He got 9 goals from that, and his expected assists, so what he's creating, was 3.84, and he got 2 assists. So immediately you can see he's shooting more than he crosses. He's more likely to score than he is to provide. So that tells you what kind of player he is, and I think also informs us, if this was a Ryan Kent direct replacement, I think it would be a player who was, more akin to creating. As opposed to Matondo, who I think Rangers have brought in predominantly because he can play on the right, because of his profile, and also because he can be quite a goal threat. If you look at what Ross Wilson said yesterday, he said, "We wanted to invest in a wide player this summer, and we are excited with what Rabbi will bring to our group with his speed and general style of play." Now, at risk of reading too much between the lines there, Derek, take Wilson at his word, he's saying a wide player. If you look at what Rangers have on the left, and Kent, obviously his contract situation remains up in the air, but going off what we know at the moment, you have Kent there, you have Sakala there, and maybe even Tom Lawrence, although I think he'll play more centrally.
Yeah.
I don't think Matondo, who's coming in to play football, is necessarily coming to play on that left side, although I think he can, and he scored 9 goals off that side last season. But if you look at that scout report, what you'll see is when he's on the right, because he's so quick, it actually, I think, gives him more options of what he can do. Sometimes when he's on the left, he's maybe a little bit predictable in terms of coming onto his right foot, although, he's not quite as two-footed as Kent. Whereas on the right, because he's so quick, what often happens is you see a defender have to kind of compensate their body shape for going up the line because they know you'll beat them in a sprint battle. And that always allows Matondo to come on the inside. And then if they predict that, he can just cut round them because his pace is, I think he'll arguably be the fastest player Rangers have ever signed.
What's his record again?
I can't remember, but it was something like the quickest in Germany, was it not? It was like 36.
Yeah.
Was it 36 kilometers? Maybe not. No, that sounds wrong. 36. That can't be right. It's fast anyway. Whatever it is, it's very
100
fast.
meters in 2 seconds. He's that quick.
There we go.
Usain Bolt's eating his dust.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm seeing a comment there. Wright offers a lot tactically, and I think Wright's a good example. So if you think of what Wright's done kind of from March forward under Van Bronckhorst, it allows Tavernier to get forward and it allows him the flexibility to go outside and inside. So sometimes, I mean, Matondo, you'll see some of the flicks he does again on the scout report when he's receiving the ball in tight areas, he can just turn unbelievably quickly. And by playing that kind of what we've called a hybrid role quite often, when Tavernier sometimes goes outside, sometimes goes inside, it means that Matondo is able to isolate himself out wide, to go 1v1v defenders. But when there's the space inside and he can use those qualities closer to goal, he's able to do so. And I think with Wright, we know his end product's a bit limited. We know he's improved as a player, but I don't think many people would have him as their first choice there purely because there's not enough substantial evidence over a period of time that he's going to be able to give you the numbers you need from your right-sided attacker. Whereas I think Matondo, what the club will hope is he's younger, he's more explosive, although Wright is quick in those little pockets of space. He's hopefully going to get the club more goals. And he can maybe take real advantage of those spaces because I think although Kent can do that well sometimes, I also think that you look at the Wright's goal in the Scottish Cup final, it was actually a terrible ball that Kent played into him, and I think often that's not where he's quite at his best. I think a player like Matondo is going to be someone that can really capitalise on space when it's there, and hopefully maybe sit a bit wider when you're trying to break down a defence. Obviously, there is questions about you can over dribble at points. I think he'll need to refine when he maybe lays it off instead of going to beat another man. But he's 21. You want a player that takes risks, and I think it's a really exciting signing. To get someone who went for that amount of money a few years ago, has already played quite a lot at international level, has just scored 9 goals in 26 games in the Belgium top flight. I think it's a really good signing, Derek. And as I say, I do think reading between the lines, he's coming in to play that right-sided hybrid role, although obviously we could be wrong. Yeah. Kent could go. But just at the moment with Kent there, that's where I see him fitting in.
Yeah, I like this comment from Katic Level 72. Matondo's so quick, he's already finished the 2022-23 season. A bit more information from Alan. He gets in touch. Thanks, Alan. Usain Bolt opened his 2008 Olympic gold medal winning the 100-metre sprint with an opening 20-metre time of 2.87 seconds. Rabbi Matondo beat that 20-metre time while shattering the Man City record at just 18 years of age with a time of 2.62 seconds. Wow. But Usain Bolt was historically slow out the blocks. I think it's when he started getting his legs stretched that he took over everybody. But that is certainly encouraging. But listen, he can be the fastest guy on the planet, but it's what he does with the ball at his feet that we're interested in. And I think everyone excited to see how he's going to get on. So many questions coming in here, Josh. We'll touch on a couple of them. Duncan says, is he going to take a bit of pressure off Ryan Kent if I'm being so quick? I see an interesting one. For me, Ryan Kent, he's one of the Rangers' main men, of course. They rely on him a lot. His numbers domestically last season weren't anywhere near what they should be. Can you see him possibly moving from that left-sided role or being rested for games or Matondo coming in on that side?
Well, I think the thing with Kent is that his numbers improved. I think a lot of the rhetoric about Kent was based off the first half of the season. His numbers did improve in the second half of the season under Van Bronckhorst. He obviously was injured in the first half of the season as well. And in the 2020-21 season, he had good numbers. So I don't think this is a case of like the 2019-20 season when his numbers were a concern. I can't remember how many assists he finished with last season. But they certainly improved, kind of certainly into the new year, and you see how important he was in Europe. I think it will take a bit of pressure off him, because the thing is with Kent, and we've spoken about this a lot. Van Bronckhorst obviously has used him a lot wider. I personally think when you're trying to break down a team, that works well, because it's better to have a winger out wide who can beat a player 1v1 than always having crosses going into the box. Again, this is you don't want to be repetitive, and I think Gerrard's team became a bit repetitive in terms of the number 10s always being inside, and the opposition fullbacks therefore always being able to defend quite narrow. And I guess it depends what Matondo does, because people are saying how will he be able to use his pace, and that's a fair point. But
yeah,
let's take an example. Rangers are playing, I don't know, Dundee United, anyone at home, or a team that will maybe really sit in a team lower in the division, but will really sit in the first few games of the season. If you've got Matondo and Kent hugging the touchlines, it changes how you've got to defend. If it's Tavernier and Barisic out there, yes, their crosses might be on the money, and if they get a little bit of space, they might be able to provide. But normally, I think what you see in the Scottish Premierships is teams can compensate if they're not facing those wingers out there, because they can sit a little bit narrower, condense the space. Whereas if you've got Matondo and Kent out there, your opposition fullbacks have to go tight with them. They have to either be on their touch or confront them right away, because otherwise they're going to run and they're going to be dangerous 1v1. And if they do that, then those fullbacks come out a little bit more, it leaves space in the middle. So I think it's about making the most of the space that Rangers do have. And what you've seen, certainly under Van Bronckhorst at the start, is he wanted to do that. He wanted to stretch the pitch, maximise the space that the opposition had to defend, but he just didn't have that quality output on the right as he did on the left. And I think what Matondo should give him is real flexibility, as Ross Wilson's speaking about, his speed, his general style of play. It'll take him time to adapt, I've absolutely no doubt. But he's also played, went and played in the Bundesliga at 19, so I think he should be able to come and adapt to Scottish football.
Yeah, some comments coming in with regards to the future of Ryan Kent. Gavin says, I think we've lost Kent. I don't think he'll sign another long-term contract. Some other comments coming in asking about the situation with regards to his contract situation. We were told discussions have been taking place between the club and both Kent and Morelos about extending their deals. No news to bring you on the progression of those talks just now. But Joshua, do you think I've seen the whole Leeds link popping up over the weekend again? Can you see Kent leaving this window? Of the two, Morelos or Kent, do you think Kent's most likely to probably depart? I'm not too sure. I think the both of them look settled, that they're happy in Glasgow and playing for Rangers. But of course, football, if a big offer comes in, then he may not have a choice, and he may be sold. Where do you stand on both these two players and the likelihood that Kent could be heading for pastures new?
Well, the truth is, and you were speaking to Connor Goldson last week, Derek, and if anyone's not seen that interview, it's on our YouTube channel and on the website as well. But you'd be better placed to speak about this, Derek. But effectively, Goldson was saying, look, all these rumours are going on, people saying I don't want to stay because I'm not signed. That wasn't true. Now, Kent and Morelos isn't the same situation, because they have a higher value than Goldson. Rangers aren't going to allow them to run down their contracts, I don't think, as they did with Goldson, because he wasn't going to go for 10 million the season before he eventually signed on last season, whereas Kent and Morelos could still command what the club would be hope would be substantial fees in this market. But you also don't want to sell them with a year left on their contract, and you see the difference between the Patterson deal and the Reboot deal. You want to try and sell your assets when you've got that little bit of wiggle room. So it'll be really interesting. I think that's almost as big as any signing this summer in terms of the Rangers protecting their value, because hypothetically, let's say Morelos was to go this summer for whatever fee, it would be so much you presume it would be a lot less than he could have commanded at his peak. Hypothetically, again, if Morelos signs a new deal and then goes and plays in the Champions League and boosts his value up again, Rangers are in a completely different situation with that. It's the same with Ryan Kent, who I think would, based on his performances in Europe last season, I'd imagine his stock would be pretty high at the moment. But as you say, I think both players seem pretty settled and happy at the club. Yeah. Equally, they're both, 25, 26. So, a Reboot's just moved down at 26. You get to that stage of your career, I guess, where you've got to maybe make a decision about where you play your peak years. What I guess you would say is that you'd hope and you'd presume that what the club are doing in this window is based on whether they're confident the Morelos and Kent will sign, whether they think they're going to have to sell them. But as you say, there's not been much noise about them going anywhere. And if I think they were rejecting contracts and all these things, which again, from what we know isn't true, then I do think there'd be kind of more noise about them going this window. So a lot of work still to be done between now and September. And as we wrote the other day, I think Ross Wilson's kind of portfolio by the end of September will really inform his reputation with a lot of the support, because it's got the potential to go really, really well. And based on the business so far, for the fee that Rangers have paid out, if they were to get Champions League money and be able to add just a little bit more quality, I think it could be a really, really successful transfer window. Equally, if they don't, it could be the same as last season, where you're still thinking that they need a little bit more investment in certain areas.
Yeah. Pete makes a point here. A picture of someone arriving at Rangers looks a lot like Phil Genie. Deal definitely off. Yes, the deal is off. He signed for Mainz yesterday in Germany. So that one is not happening. Another report I've seen, Joshua, and we've got a scouting report on the website, folks. Do go check it out. Is it Moroccan? No, it's not Moroccan, is he? Is he American? The boy at Bayern Munich, Malik. What's his surname again?
Tillman, I think.
Tillman, Malik Tillman.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to look at this boy? And I think he's had 4 appearances for Bayern Munich. I think as another player, of course, you look at the club, and he's obviously had a good schooling, good club. He's another player that's been linked with Rangers. Would this be someone you'd be excited at seeing?
I think he's quite a strong ball carrier. Craig has done a scout report on him. And I think it fits with, Rangers. I still think the Rangers need a player in the centre. They've got Lowry, they've got Lawrence. Hadji isn't going to be back for a while. I can't see Arfield playing a huge role this season. I still think you need someone, and I tweeted this out when I was watching the first half against Sunderland, the way that Rangers are playing, and I think going to play domestically, I would still really think you need a number 10 like a Reboot, but a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little bit less polished technically, but maybe more effective in terms of goals and assists in the Scottish Premiership. Because again, it's a friendly. It's, we only actually saw half an hour of the Sunderland game, and I don't know what you thought. Well, we our picture was cut for about 15 minutes of the first.
You watched the Scottish Cup final, which was good.
Yeah, but I don't think Arfield in that number 10 position offers loads when you're trying to get the ball up, because he's not a ball carrier. He relies on those quick combinations, quite effective in and around the box. Obviously, he's getting a bit older as well. So I think that, hypothetically, if Rangers and hopefully get through the Champions League knockout stages, I think a real bit of quality in that area. Because I think Alex Lowry, I could be wrong with this, but I don't know if he's a kind of back to goal number 10. I'm sure he could do that, but I think he's maybe more of a player who would play better when he's part of a midfield 3. You see him playing off the left a lot last season. I'm sure he could do that, but I just don't know if that's what is the vision for this season. I still think if you're looking at the squad and how it is just now, the area that still needs a little bit of quality maybe is in that position. And with having signed Lawrence and with numbers in there, if Rangers are going to play 2 attacking midfielders at points, they've only really got 3 fit attacking midfielders at the moment in Arfield, Lowry and Lawrence. Hadji, as you were hearing at the press conference, Derek, could be out for a while longer. That you need a little bit more in that area for me.
Yeah, well, as Sharpie says, Hadji back fully fit and ready to play. Not only is he not fully fit and ready to play, but he's going to be out until after the World Cup. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst told me. which is a blow. When he told me, I sort of had to take a double take. I was thinking, is there another World Cup break, internationals coming up in August or something? But then you realise that the actual World Cup, and it's a real shame. Big loss for Rangers. Let's hope he's back to play some part this season coming up. It was good to see him on Saturday taking a load of selfies with reporters and a lot of the players. That fair play to them, interacting with the fans that made their way over to Albufeira. So yeah, it was nice to see.
Derek, what do you in terms of, if you look at the starting 11, let's say Matondo plays that right-sided role. Your back four is pretty settled from last season, give or take Bassy or Barisic, maybe Suter coming in. You've got Lundstrom in deep midfield, maybe a Jack or Kamara alongside him, Morelos and Kent, Cholak competing. Where, presuming that everyone stays, if you're going to spend money, where'd you strengthen?
I'd have to see Matondo to see where he's going to play. At the moment, I think the Rangers need another striker.
Another striker?
Yeah.
Oh, why? What is that based on Roof's injuries and? Yeah,
and the way Van Bronckhorst was speaking the other day there, they said he doesn't want another situation where he has to play the likes of Joe Reboot up front and no strikers. I think they've brought Cholak in. Roof, as much as everyone agrees he's a terrific finisher, you can't rely on him. Morelos is injured at the moment. So at the moment, you have Cholak as your only option up front. So they need someone else, I think, just even to come off the bench or what have you. So that would be a priority for me. Left back, I know many people have said strengthening at left back. I know Borna Barisic divides opinion, but I'd be quite content with he and Bassy there for now, unless a club would come in for either of those two. And then you've got your centre backs where I think you're a little bit top heavy, and perhaps someone or two players need to leave. The likes of Jack Simpson, I don't think is going to get a look in. No. John Souttar's arrived, of course, so you're looking at Hollander, who's currently injured. Niko Katic, jury's out. I know he played the first half on Saturday. It was good to see him in a Rangers jersey again, but he wasn't the only one, of course. He was a bit rusty, but be interested to see if he has a part to play on Saturday. But this ties into the question, CGM 55, are we thinking Bassy will play left back or centre half? It's an interesting one, Joshua, with regards to that, because I think it all depends if John Souttar's fit. I can't see John Souttar just warming the bench and coming on every now and again. I think he's a starter for me. And then you're just thinking, will he be able to play 50 plus games in a Rangers jersey? Probably not. I think we're going to see a mix of Bassy both playing at centre half and left back again.
I think I was thinking about this because I'm doing a squad depth piece today, and I was looking at that centre back position, and I was thinking, oh, there's quite a lot of people there. But then you think, well, Souttar and Hollander have both had a lot of injuries over the last few years, so it's not improbable that both of them are out at the same time. And then hypothetically, if Barisic is going through one of his slumps in a season, which he did last season, and Bassy's at left back, you are short there. And obviously Leon King is, by all accounts, ready to be a first team player. And one of the maybe 4 or 5. I think he's probably the fourth centre back, because I don't think Niko Katic will play that much personally. So it is interesting. I mean, I don't think it's improbable that Barisic leaves this window. He's 29. I think if he's ever going to move, it would be now. But there's nothing, obviously no noise on that at the moment. Obviously, I think he was subject to a bid from Watford in the January window, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But, again, speaking hypothetically, so much could change, because you could have a Bassy as the subject of a big bid, which means he goes, and Barisic, and then you could be in need of new left backs. So you just don't know. And the transfer window's open until what, end of August, start of September?
Yeah, it's a long way to go.
It's a long way to go. I agree with you. I think one area that's maybe not talked about quite enough is that creative deep midfielder. Lundstrom, I think, is very much his position, but I think, and again, I guess that's why Stephen Davis has stayed. But because of his age, I still think you have to include that in the conversation, that if you are playing a team at home, you maybe want someone who can open up from at the number 6 position. I would also like to see John Lundstram shoot more this season based on that goal against Partick Thistle, because he does have a ping on him, doesn't he?
He does have a ping. I'm excited to see him and Tom Lawrence in that midfield. I think that is robust.
You just want shots. All Derek Clark wants when he's watching a football game is shots from the edge of the D, isn't it, Derek? You're happy with that, but I mean, Matondo's the same. Matondo takes some crazy shots, and for all the jokes around that, Rangers need goals, and both Cholak, Lawrence, and Matondo will bring that based on Cholak's season at Malmo, Lawrence obviously last season at Derby. So it does add another dimension, and certainly under Gerrard, when you've got Kamara, and I know Kamara scored a couple of goals from the edge of the box, but you've got Kamara and Davies at the edge of the box. Stephen Davies, I swear he could shoot about 10 years ago, but now he seems to skiff every single shot he takes. It does add a different dimension if you've got someone like, as you say, a Lawrence or a Lundstram from the edge of the box, who teams know, okay, well, he could punish us from this area. We've got to compensate from that. I mean, the shot he hits the post with in the Cup semi-finals are a perfect example of that, Derek, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. And it's an area that Van Bronckhorst was keen to strengthen. That's why we've seen these players come in that aren't afraid to have a shot on goal. And you're right. I mean, the Kamara thing springs to mind, that semi-final when he did have a shot and it was an absolute beauty. I'd love him to take more digs from the edge of the area. Absolutely. And John Julius rightly says that Davies nearly scored in the Europa League
final. True,
that is true. Just a fraction away from what would have probably been the winner, but it's too soon to talk about that cup final. Let's get a question coming in. Mark Lawson says Ryan Jack can hit them as well if he stays fit. Absolutely, we all seen it in the Scottish Cup final when he came on. I actually asked him because, of course, he wasn't playing on Saturday alongside John Suter. I got an update on both of them. Apparently, they're back training with the first team this week. John Suter, I was told, was having buttons taken out of his ankle. It wasn't anything serious, though. It's just I'm told it's routine, and he should be back training with the squad this week. So we may see both of them on Saturday against Blackpool, and safe journey to everyone that's heading down there. It should be a cracking day. I wanted to touch on Katic Loyal says, do you think we'll likely see the new boys, Lawrence and Matondo, against Blackpool? I think so, Joshua. I'm interested to see what the team may be. At half time he brought on McCrory, Sakala, Kamara, and Adam Devine. I wonder if he'll maybe start the second half team on Saturday, or can you see something different, perhaps?
Well, I think he said to you after the game that he was basically they just have to compensate for the players that didn't play with maybe a bounce game in training, or just some more work in training because they didn't get to play that game. And I'd imagine, probably players who didn't play that first half will be in there. I certainly don't think it'll be an Arfield and a Davies central midfield pairing. I think you'll see maybe a Kamara start in there. I don't know if did you see the footage of Antonio Conte making his Tottenham team do laps of the pitch after?
No.
I mean, he's notorious for his pre-season training, and if anyone hasn't seen this, it's quite funny. You see Kane and Son having just been absolutely beasted in a training session and have to, shall we say, run quite a distance. So, I'm sure I'm not sure if they're going to be doing Antonio Conte standards of fitness training, but obviously, the team was incredibly, incredibly fit last season. Actually, probably improved on that, and I can't remember where this quote came from, but one player was speaking about the change in training. Under Gerrard and Beale, maybe they played more small-sided games compared to under Van Bronckhorst. If anyone can remember it, do let me know. But there's so many player quotes these days that I forget. But you look at how fit that team was towards the end of last season. You look at the likes of Lundstram and Bassy and Kent, Tavernier players who can just run and run and run. I don't think fitness is ever really a worry, is it? Final word for me, I'd quite like to look at Adam Devine. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tavernier's understudy, but I think he could play something of a part next season.
Yeah, I did see Reno Gattuso. He's at Valencia now, isn't he? I've seen that the Valencia players spewing their guts up and what have you when they're going through some pre-season training, which is so Gattuso. Go and have a look for it, folks. It's online there somewhere. Pete Lawn says, yeah, Divine looks great. I totally agree, and it was good to chat to him in Portugal. The interviews on our YouTube channel, folks. He's got a mature head on young shoulders, and I'd be excited to see if he's got a part to play next season. He's obviously with the B team. It remains to be seen if he'll make the step up and play in the first team. Of course, there's still Matthias Sikowski, which we've seen a little bit, of course, in pre-season. So he is also itching to make some more appearances. He was unfortunately injured after that game against Annan, I think it was, last season. So he's another one. He certainly looks like he's bulked up, and he's just getting ready for the physicality of the Scottish game. So that'll be an interesting one. Ryan says, what's happened to that Zakowski lad? Listen, I think you have a part to play as well. More probably being cup games, but then Tavernier is so robust and wants to play every game, doesn't he, Joshua? So that's the thing. It's how to shoehorn these lads into the team when you've got the club captain playing ever so well. I think last season was one of his best. You struggle to see how these boys are going to get an opportunity, but I'm sure an opportunity will arise at some point in the season. Okay, folks, I think that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for interacting with the show as ever. It's very much appreciated. Remember, just a reminder of our great offer on the website just now. If you sign up, you get 2 months for just £2, so £1 a month effectively. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.